Welcome back to the channel, my friends. It's no surprise that in this day and age, more people than ever are, disconnected from the things around them. Like, are you even feeling lonely going through life these days? Well, in this video, I'm going to talk about how the energy of the entire solar system actually resides within you. And understanding this will make you realize that you're more connected to the universal nature of things than you may have ever realized before. And we're going to talk about how you can use this knowledge to your advantage to co-create with divine powers, how to understand cosmic cycles and how they may impact your mood and certain things that happen in your life that are actually not even your fault. And by the end of the video, you're going to understand the importance of maybe even integrating some elements of astrology, even if you're looking at phases of the moon, and make the connection to things that are happening in your life. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. Now I first want to open up and say this is not a video about astrology. I have simply discovered astrology as a means to explain some of the unexplained things that may have been happening in our lives, as well as some of my own insights getting some astrology reading done lately, and how it showed me sides of my personality that I was aware of, but kind of came with me on a soul level. And sort of, if you think of a computer, it's kind of like your base operating system. The software your computer comes with, it's sort of like that. So many of us have personalities and lives we've cultivated over a lifetime, but have become disconnected from the universal nature of things, the universal mechanics. And there's a very famous Hermetic law that I talk about. As above, so below, right? And as below, so above. As within, so without. And so without, as within. This law speaks to the universal nature of things and how even the cosmos itself is actually mirrored within us. So understanding these cycles by looking at everything around us and how it's mirrored within us will help us understand what are the ingredients we need to manifest things in our life and to get greater meaning to the things, like maybe it could be challenges that are even happening to us. I think an important thing to acknowledge here is the human body itself. You as a human being yourself are actually part of a microcosm. You are sort of a mini universe, a mini city, universe housing cities and towns and little groupings of bacteria and all kinds of microorganisms that are living within you, and within it forms a very complex structure that's called human. While we have many things that operate within us, there's many things that operate very similarly out there in the universe, in the macrocosm. The two reflect each other, and the laws that govern them are very much the same. What are the missing ingredients for you to use this knowledge successfully? If you understand, and you've acknowledged at this point in the video that you have this macrocosm that lives within you that's tied by a thread to these larger forces of the universe, planetary motions, as well as things like moon cycles, even the nature of things that are happening around you on a physics level is actually affecting you as an individual human being. It speaks to your power, honestly. I always say the spark, the divine spark, is within you, and it speaks to us. It speaks to our greatness as human beings and what we're able to actually accomplish if you have these two things. The first one here is faith, a deeply cultivated sense of faith within yourself. And in having faith cultivated within yourself, you also have faith in the external forces, the external mechanics that have some level of influence over your life, and acknowledging that you don't control everything. See, that's one of the biggest causes of depression and mental illness that we're experiencing in society today. Maybe even you have experienced this, the control issue. And then I talk about this in my triad of trauma. It's a trauma triad. Control, power, and trust are the three elements that get messed up when traumatic incidents happen to you. Trauma, we think of trauma as being like, oh, you got beat up or something intense like that. But no, trauma could even be like you wanting to dress up as like a lion or something when you were a kid, Maybe it wasn't even Halloween and you wanted to put on your Halloween costume and your parents said, no, you can't do that. That conditioning over time of being told, no, you can't do that, no, you can't do that, even though it was meant in good faith from their side, trying to protect you for your best interest, it actually broke you down as a child, right? You probably had some sort of tantrum or something you threw, you got worked up by it, and that imprinted itself as a traumatic incident that maybe had either a message of control, you don't have control, power, you're powerless, or trust, you can't trust people, right? One of those three things can manifest themselves as part of your belief system. And so having faith within yourself and understanding as you grow older that there's larger forces at work here, you have a soul level programming that you came to this planet with, and through going through, growing up with your parents, going through school, that got broken down. You were told what you can and cannot do in school, what you can and cannot do, what you should conform to. That formed your belief system, and you sort of got reprogrammed over a period of 10 to 15 years. Now, you're out in the world and you're trying to figure out who you are. I know some people have a deep burning sense of, this is not who I am. You've put on a facade, you've cultivated a certain type of personality, and now you're living with it because everybody around you reinforces that personality. But that's not the real you. That is not the true you. And within you lies the essence of that person, at a soul level, who that person is. And so this brings me to my next point. Aside from having faith in the universal nature of things and how it can have effects on your life, that everything will unfold in divine timing when the time is right. The other part to acknowledge is that at a soul level, you came in here with certain type of programming, a purpose, a mission, things like that. And these can be explained at an astrological level. You see, the ancient astrologers, they first noticed that people born in a certain season or at a certain time of the year when the stars were aligned in a certain way would have certain personalities, would have certain characteristics, would have certain desires. And this was back when there was no indoctrination camps. The world worked very differently. It was very right brain dominated. And when you have a right brain dominated society, this is very visual. It's very visual, abstract. And using the left brain was actually, using the left side of the brain was only used for processing information. Not like how we are now, where we use the left brain for just about everything. And the right brain tends to get shut out. But back then, when the left brain was only used for interpretation, they would see these patterns that would come about in human nature. How, people born in the season of Virgo would have certain characteristics, earthly characteristics, more grounded, more innocent looking, more innocent behaving. I wrote down here, astrologers believe that the position of the stars during a person's birth influences their character, destiny, and reaffirming the connection between the macrocosm and microcosm. And they saw these connections taking place, and thus the astrological charts were created. And around these charts, your birth chart, you're able to actually interpret information. We could go down a rabbit hole around astrology and who is actually practicing traditional methods of astrology, and there's a bunch of people who are just in it for maybe other reasons. But at a base level, being able to have someone interpret your birth chart, which is based on where you were born, the time you were born, if you can get it, and the date you were born, which most people have. So based on those three things, they can come up with a birth chart, and based on the birth chart, it has basically a universal blueprint of who you are. And you'll find when you read this, or you're told this verbally, it's going to ring true to you. If it's a true astrological reading, it'll ring true to you on a deep soul, on a soul level. And you may see parts of yourself in that reading that you always intuitively felt you had, little quips of personality that you always had that you'd show maybe once in a while to certain people, but it would come out. And when it really comes out, in a reading or on a write-up or whatever, then you maybe even feel safe to embrace that part of your personality a little bit more, because it's a natural part of your identity, right? At a soul level, like that was your soul programming when you came in, before you were indoctrinated. So that's one aspect of it as well, having faith, and then being able to read this information to inform ourselves of who we really are, to get down to that bottom, that the most important question that everybody's going to ask in their life, right? Who am I? Who am I really? And then the last one here is astrological cycles. Just like seasons, the year has seasons. When these planets are shifting around, the moon is in different positions. It's actually affecting you at a personal level. So it's affecting your mood, your emotions, maybe things that are happening to you. There are days in the month that are maybe more favorable to do certain things than other days. Now be careful of this trap. Don't get caught in the trap of living your life as one big astrology chart, because there is an element of randomness in life to really enjoy it, and you don't want to be stuck to this blueprint and just live your life out as it is, because I don't think that makes it all that interesting, and it might make you lose focus of things in life that really matter. So be careful of how into this how deep down the astrology rabbit hole you go. But understanding that maybe there's certain times of the month where you feel a little bit down, where you feel a little bit more low energy, and correlating that to something outside of yourself, to something like the moon cycles. I mean, this is something that I'm encouraging to have people, to pique your curiosity a bit and get you to learn about it as I'm going through this myself, because just learning about the astrological chart, my birth chart, and the position of the planets, and how that actually affects me at a deep soul level was eye-opening for me. It was another layer, a depth to my personality that got revealed to me that made it safe to express those traits and abilities. It wasn't just a hunch that I had, So let's recap a little bit here. You have a microcosm inside of you connected to the macrocosm and all the mechanics in between that make the two operate. You're deeply connected to universal cycles. Faith allows you to co-create with the divine and not have to struggle alone. You're not on this path alone, my friend. And by acknowledging that there's larger universal forces at hand, there's a soul level plan that you came into this reality with, will help you in sort of giving you at least a little bit of a roadmap for your life and where you're going, so you don't have to feel like you're always going up against the wall. Astrological alignments, where the positions of the planets and the phases of the moon and stuff will affect your internal energies. And hopefully this information is helpful to you in realizing that a lot of the ways you feel and maybe sometimes think and sometimes act may not always have to do with you as a person or things around you happening. It's more to do with your cycles, your inner programming, and its connection to the macrocosm, the programming of the macrocosm, which is just doing what it's been doing for thousands of years. The last one here is aligning our internal seasons with the external happenings in the universe. Now, this is something that maybe a professional astrologer would be able to help you with, but be able to understand that there's 12 different zodiacs, right? 12 different cycles that the stars and the planets go through. And in these 12 cycles, depending on what cycle you were born in, there may be different effects on your life. And this is such a complex web, and this is why I once heard someone say, millionaires do not read horoscopes. They have no need to. They grind hard. The money that they made is proof of, their hard work, that their commitment that they've put into it. But at the same time, billionaires and trillionaires, they do. Pay attention to their watch. A lot of their watches will say, like JP Morgan, for example, has a watch that shows the phases of the moon. Why does he have a watch that shows the phases of the moon? Because he understands that there's optimal times in a month to make a move and suboptimal times in a month to make a move. And by knowing where the astrology, the nature of astrology, at that specific time. Maybe there's a product launch, or maybe there's a certain thing that needs to take place within the business. Being able to align with those things can help tip the odds or the chances in his favor. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and check out the link down below if you would like to get on a call with me for a free 30-minute breakthrough session where we can talk and see if co-creating a reality, a new reality for you together, is right for you. Until next time, my friend. Peace.